Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Canal Days, What Life Was Like in the Industrial Connecticut River Valley of Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, and joining us today is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Comu. He personally offers and leads public and private tours, as well as presentations of historical sites within communities throughout Massachusetts. Currently, the communities he has chosen to focus on this year are Holyoke, Chicopee, South Hadley, and East Hampton, and also Granby and Amherst as well. His tours spotlight the local canals, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks, streets, and selected historical houses within each community. In today's episode, we'll be discussing the Sacred Heart Church and the St. John Evangelist Church in Agawam, Massachusetts. So tell us about the Sacred Heart Church in Agawam.
Thank you for joining us today, and yes, we're going to talk about these two Catholic churches in Agawam itself. Now, Agawam is a big place, and that probably explains why there's two, but we'll talk about that too. And we're also going to talk about why the campuses are so enormous on both of them. I know Agawam has a lot of space, but these churches have bought a lot of farmland to put in their churches. Now, this first one that were mentioned is the Sacred Heart Church. It's in the village of Feeden Hills within Agawam at 1065 Springfield Street. It was made in 1946, and it has its own wonderful website. When you go there, the church is in a circular fashion, and it's made out of a yellow color brick, which is called the Cardinal Cushion architectural style within Massachusetts. A lot of buildings, religious buildings, went up during his time that he was cardinal out in Boston, and thus a lot of buildings have this color brick to them. And on the campus itself, you're going to find the parish center, the parish offices, many statues, or many of them. Of course, many of Jesus himself. Sacred Heart is the Sacred Heart of Jesus itself. And it also has a round connection place where you're going to be able to see a chapel called the Old Saints Chapel, and that's attached. And it used to be true that this was always open. I don't know if it's still true. Now, they don't have much of a steeple. They do have a cross, which substitute for a steeple itself. Now, the rectory is off towards the right. It looks like a house. It has a double garage. It's very big because, remember, you have to do all the functions out of there, and they do have their own office attached off to the left. Now, it has a big baseball field, soccer field, athletic area towards the back, and that makes the campus gigantic. It even has more space than even the sports field can fill up, and that's wonderful. Across the street, there's also a cemetery, and the cemetery happens to be Christian, so it takes in all Protestants and Catholics that want to be buried there, and that's good because there's no true Catholic cemetery within Agawam itself.
And tell us about the Sacred Heart Church in Agawam. Tell us about the St. John Evangelist Church in Agawam.
Okay, the next church we're going to talk about is the St. John's. All right, this one is from 1971, so it's very modern. It's located at 823 Main Street, which is the most important street in Agawam, probably the first street you got on when you go to Agawam. It is with a beautiful rectory and social hall in the way back, about 200 feet away from the front of the church itself. And the church itself is a very simple look to it. It's probably should be considered medium-sized, but its architectural style is very simple. They like the Sacred Heart Church have their own website, so you can learn a great deal about it. Now, most people consider Agawam to be two villages, Agawam and Feeden Hills. The Catholic Church, of course, feeds the one in Agawam.
And really quick before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org, and there you can find videos and podcasts of the stops along each of his tours, as well as photos and text of the historical sites throughout as well. And for private tours and other inquiries, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And his tours make for fun educational outdoor activities for families and group parties. So getting back to our interview, why are there 2 Catholic churches in town?
Well, remember, Agawam is really 2 strong villages. The center of Agawam itself, which is towards the eastern part, which probably has more of the population, and then it has the western part, which is its own village, which it's called Feeding Hills in this case. And so thus, since it's 2 big villages around, you need 2 Catholic churches. It's also a very conservative community. A lot of military veterans live in these communities. And so those men tend to be very religious, and their families will grow up very religious. Okay, so that's why there's 2 Catholic churches, when you would expect on a community this size, maybe there'd just be 1. And they're both very modern, so these modern Catholic churches never had the chance to grow like the ones of 120 years ago into complete campuses with schools, convents, social halls, so forth. But they still have a beautiful look to them and a good feel to them.
And why are both of their campuses so large?
Okay, the one at the Sacred Heart can have all these athletic fields on it. It's a great site, and so you can bring your team there, and you can have a great game of soccer, or baseball, softball, so forth. They probably serve the community as well, but they probably also serve the church's social functions very, very well. It's great to see that such a wide open space for a religious organization. For the Sacred Heart one, they have a very large social center in the very back and sit far behind the church itself. Remember that most people in Agawam don't live anywhere near these centers of these villages. It's a very spread out community. And since most churches, old churches, were built pre-car era, they didn't need big parking lots, and they can have a cluster of buildings, the convent, school, church, so forth. And these, from the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, can have these big wide open campuses because you have to have a big space for the cars to fit in, and you probably bought these off of farmlands at a good rate, so you can buy a lot more land than you think you might need. Thank you, though, and I hope you visit both these campuses and enjoy them.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours and historical topics of your expertise. And of course, we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And check out a large selection of our other podcasts at his website,